Hey there guys, welcome to the next time lapse here on the DuctTapeStuff channel. Going to be making a really cool painting in this video. It's going to be a Toy Story logo painting and just throwing the white duct tape on the canvas there for the background. A lot of people ask me why I put the white duct tape on the white canvas, and that's just because you want the whole background to have that duct tape look and feel to it. So that's why I put the white on the canvas there. And working on the toy logo first, the toy banner, which has a blue background, so we're going to work on that first, using some of that Duck brand HD clear packaging tape to stick it down. Toy Story was actually the first movie that I went to see in theaters as a kid back in '95, so definitely holds a special place for me. And especially when I went to see Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3 when it came out fairly recently. So Toy Stories have been a huge thing in my childhood, so decided to do that for this time lapse. So cutting out that toy piece now, ripping up all the packaging tape. Have to save that bottom banner because I need that for later on, because that'll allow me to make the bottom part of it. So now just carefully going to peel all that up as carefully as I can. It cut out fairly well. I didn't have to do a little bit of trimming, here and there to make sure that it all comes right up. So now I'm just going to peel that up. And I made a little bit of a mistake here because I'm actually going to stick it right on the board right here, but I really shouldn't have done that because I actually have to put that banner on top of the red banner which has the story on it there. So you see me lining it up and everything, but I actually have to take that back off again, so it's a little bit of a mistake. I realized it about like a minute from now and decided I have to do it again. So here's the red banner that I'm going to work on with the story in yellow letters. And you'll see when I actually stick this down here, and as soon as I leave the paper image there, you see me swoop up right there on the top piece, and you'll be able to see it when I actually peel up the excess tape. But the reason I did that is because since that piece is going to be underneath the toy banner, which is blue, like you see that giant curve at the top, that's going to be underneath, and you want to cover as much surface area as you can. So that's why I swooped over. You're not going to be able to see it because it's going to be underneath the banner. So now you see the toy banner is gone again. Made a little mark so I know where to stick this one. And now you'll see me arrange that on top, just like it should be. And you see how it overlaps on top, so that was definitely a mistake, but I figured it out. Alright, so now we're working on that. Now we're going to work on the yellow letters. I got a lot of people who comment in the previous time lapses that I made and say like, oh well, the cuts aren't perfect, this part is a little messed up and everything. I just want to say, time lapses are not supposed to be perfect, guys. I mean, I'm trying to do these as fast as I possibly can because every single couple seconds I spend on the video just contributes to the overall length of it. So if I spend a lot of time going over every single piece perfectly, it would just be, this video would be double the length, and I don't think you guys would watch it. So in my collections volumes, those are the videos where I actually spend a lot of time to make sure that it is almost completely perfect. But time lapses, no. So if you're expecting perfect, then don't expect it from the time lapses. Is all I can say. Because like I said, I'm trying to do it as fast as I can, so that you guys don't have to watch through the entire thing. So working on the O now. The O has a little bit of the circle inside, so we're going to work on that next. So just going to cut that out now. And then I'll do a little bit of layering for that small circle in the center. So working on that, just peeling it up. Kind of looks like a Pac-Man, except nowhere near as distinct as a Pac-Man. Okay, so I'm going to line up exactly right there, and I'm going to make a little mark with the hobby knife so I know exactly where to put it, and then I'm just going to line it up right there, which looks perfect. Alright, now I'm going to work on the Y, and then I'm going to save that circle in the middle of the O for last. So work on that next. And just slowly cutting it out here. A little bit of an angle for the Y there because the O kind of overshadows it just a little bit. So I have to compensate for that. So just going to peel that up and then slowly and carefully apply that to the piece. This one took me a little bit longer. I think it was kind of just getting that that curve around the O to be perfect and more or less to look pretty nice. So it took me a few times to do that. Cutting out is just as important as sticking it on, really. So now we're going to work on that O in the center. It has a blue circle and there's a white circle in the middle. So I'm going to cut that out first, and then I'm going to work on the white piece. And it's really hard to cut out a circle of that size. So you really have to kind of cut it out and then turn into a circle from there. So I'm going to do a little bit of trimming here kind of remove the points that it has and make it look more like an actual circle. So I'm going to stick that dead center in the middle of the O, and now you can tell it definitely says toy. Now we're going to work on the actual story part. These are a little bit smaller, but they're all the same height, which really counts, and then we can just, take one piece of packaging tape and just slowly cut those out. S's are always one of the hardest, letters to cut out because they have a lot of different curves, and when you try to peel them up off of your cutting mat, they can kind of mess up depending on how you pull them off, so you got to be really careful with those. The rest of the letters here are fairly simple, but the S's are always the hardest. So working on the O there, and then the R. The hobby knife is pretty sharp, so I'm able to cut through these fairly quickly. And then we are just cutting out the Y here. Alright, so cutting that out now, peeling it up. Didn't quite come out exactly the way I wanted to. It didn't peel up totally, but I'm just going to carefully deal with that. Take out all the little pieces I cut out. And you can see the letters aren't perfect, but like I said before, it's a time lapse. It's not supposed to be perfect. I'm definitely not trying for perfection in a time lapse. Just trying to get it done more or less as fast as I can. So working on the S there. Now we just have to slowly peel these up. I'm going to start with the middle one. That's basically what you want to do when you start off with the letters, just so that you can arrange them equally on each side. So I'm going to work on the O first because obviously it's in the center. So working on that. Just going to line up the R there. Took me a few tries to get that right, just to make sure that it's the right size. And I need to smooth down a few of those wrinkles on top of it, which I'll do later. And working on the T, and then we have one more letter to go, and then the banner will really start to take shape. This isn't actually the end of the video. I'm going to work on two extra things here to add the little bit of character to the painting here. First, going to work on a cowboy hat, which is obviously Sheriff Woody's hat. It has a black band around there, and I actually decided to go with denim, and you're going to see that pretty soon. And I'm actually going to cut this piece out in two different pieces, the brim, and then I'm actually going to cut out a separate piece for the top part of the hat, because even though it's just a slightly different layer difference, it's going to look a little bit better when you do see that line in between. So you'll see what I mean in a second. So now I'm going to work on that denim. I was going to do it in black, but I thought I would go with denim because his pants are denim, so it kind of makes sense. And just kind of freehanding that, and then that's going to go directly on the hat brim. So just lining up exactly where it wants to be, putting it there, and then putting that right about there. Now we're going to peel that up, and I'm actually going to stick it onto the painting just so that it's kind of like hanging right on the T, right over there. Perfect. And now obviously we have to have something for Buzz, so this is actually really cool. I'm actually going to freehand one of his wings, and his pattern on his wings is actually pretty simple. So if it wasn't simple, I probably wouldn't have been able to do it so easily, but it's pretty cool. And you can just slowly see me start to make his wing here, and this is going to be on the right side of the painting. So that's like that little torpedo that he's got like on the end, like the rocket pack, I guess. You can see me use the ruler there. I think the first time you see me use one of the Westcott brand rulers. So that's the green line, and I'm actually going to use the white piece there, and then you can see exactly where I need to cut because of the imprint, which really came in handy. So that just allows me to stick that right on there. Now I'm going to work on those red stripes. The white is already the background, so all I have to do is work on the red for it. So you can't really see me doing it now, but I'm cutting out a whole bunch of those little stripes. And now what you can see me do is stick them on, and then I just have to trim off the excess, and it works out beautifully just like that. And the coolest part about this is I'm actually freehanding the entire thing. I'm looking at it on my computer to get an idea of what it looks like, but it's just very simple straight lines, so it's a lot of fun to make. So adding that last stripe there, and now what I'm going to do is peel up that piece and then stick it onto this painting right here, and then I'm going to peel up that jetpack portion of it, or that thruster part, and then stick that right on there. And there's the time lapse. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys next time on the channel. Hopefully you like the Toy Story painting.